gourmet friend, bonjour! It's lovely to have your company today. Warm welcome to all new ones. And I am Gérard, the French chef, presenting a series of French specialty for your enjoyment. Today, the famous Mille Feuille. It's 1000 layers of PUFF pastry, created in 1650 by the chef François Pierre de la Varenne near Dijon. In fact, when you fold 6 times your pastry, you obtain 729 layers of pastry, nearly 1000 layers of thin pastry, and when baking, each layer of pastry are rising. That's where the name comes from. It's a world-class classical French pastry of 1000 layers of crisp golden puff pastry holding a smooth vanilla cream and covered by a white glaze marbled with chocolate. It's yummy. Remember, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our humble channel to encourage me to produce more French delicacy like this one. Now, without further ado, let's roll and bake those 1000 layers of pastry. All those ingredients are in your pantry. Flour, butter. I use top quality butter at 85% of fat to make nice puff pastry that nicely rise. Okay, a little bit of chocolate, eggs, milk and sugar, and vanilla. That's all! You got all that in your pantry! On a marble bench or in a bowl, pour 300 grams of flour, make a well, add the very cold water or half the quantity, dissolve the 5 grams of salt in the water, add the remaining of the water, add the lemon juice, 1 tablespoon only, and the melted butter. Incorporate carefully the flour. Bring the dough together gently without kneading it. Shape it into a block. Now just glad wipe and rest in the fridge for 30 minutes to relax the gluten that will make the dough less elastic. Or you take 230 grams of butter and you flatten a little bit. Use a butter rich in butterfat of 85%. They tend not to melt too quickly. Then you flour a little bit the bench and you prepare a little envelope. You want to make it a square, a rectangle of 15 by 18. So you put it in an envelope like that and you fold. Like that, you fill up all the corner and you have the perfect rectangle. Okay? And you put that in the fridge for 20 minutes. Okay, now you take out from the fridge both the dough and the butter. They should be both have the same consistency. Okay? You can see the butter is soft now, it's not too hard. And now you can flour your bench and roll out the dough to the same width as the butter and twice its length. Now you can encase the butter in the middle of the dough and fold both ends. Now you can stretch evenly the corners, seal well all ends to avoid the butter to escape and make regular layers during the cooking time. Flour lightly your working bench, then roll out gently the dough to avoid the butter to escape. Now roll it in a band of 50 centimeters by 20. Okay, now you can fold in 3 bottom side first, then turn to the right 90 degrees. So we have done our first turn. You have to do that 5 times or 6 times, and then rest in the fridge every 2 turns as the butter gets a little bit melting. Right, so you have done 1 turn, now it's a second turn. I always start by the bottom here and here. Okay, then you turn. Always get this side on your left or on your right. Okay, now the convention is to put a 2 hole. 2 little mark, that means you have done 2 tours. Now we leave that in the fridge for half an hour for the dough to rest. Okay, now the crème pâtissière, made basically with milk, egg, sugar, flour, butter and vanilla, and also a little bit of custard powder. Okay, that's it. Okay, we start by separating the eggs. Okay, separate that. We need 5 yolk, that make roughly 150 grams. Now milk, vanilla, half the sugar in the eggs and the other half in the milk, and you turn, make them a bit white, and then you add the flour and the custard powder. Yeah, the milk at 70, we temper. Temper means put some boiling milk on the eggs. You don't want to make lumps, so now you put all back to the boil. Beautiful. Then you get a nice custard. So that's why I use a spatula, thicker and thicker. That's perfect. Remember, you have to boil it, huh? Now you can cook 3 or 4 minutes, and you can add the butter. And you have the beautiful crème pâtissière. Okay, you transfer the custard in a flat container and you cool them in the fridge. Now for the 2, 3 and 4. Now take the dough from the fridge, roll it and fold it the same way, then turn 1 and 2. Mark again with your fingers 4 dots and store it in the fridge for 2 more hours. During this time, we'll make the syrup. We are making a syrup, okay, with water and sugar. Dissolve the sugar first. When the water is boiling, the syrup is ready. Okay, now it's boiling, it's ready. I'll be transferring in the glass when it's cooled down. Now the fondant. In a pan, add the glucose, then the water and the sugar. Dissolve well the sugar and bring to the boil. Okay? When it reaches 112 or 115, then cool down in a bowl, sitting in the cold water. When it reaches 70 degrees or under, you can whisk the mixture with the hooks until you obtain a thick white mixture. It's your fondant. Now cover it and leave it at room temperature. Now the last turn of your puff pastry. As you can see, the texture is more compact and easy to roll. Using a brush, remove the excess of flour. Mark with 5 dots now and return to the fridge for 2 more hours. So ready to bake now. Cut the dough in half. Roll out a rectangle of 40 by 30 centimeters. Display carefully the dough on your baking tray with baking paper. Pick the dough to stop rising too much. Now sprinkle icing sugar. It will glaze and also harden the pastry. Place another piece of baking paper on top with a grid and some weight. Bake for 15 minutes at 180. Now we make a small parchment paper bag for holding the chocolate. Grab the long side and roll the right side inward toward the point of the triangle. Insert the end inside the bag and squeeze. If done properly, you can drop it and it won't open. Now the pastry is cooked. Now, when still hot, trim the pastry in a perfect rectangle. After the trimming, divide the pastry in 3 parts, exactly the same size. Use a ruler for more precision. Now, back to the crème pâtissière. Beat the crème pâtissière to make it lighter and fill up a piping bag with a nozzle of 6 mm and get ready for the assembling. Okay, now the assembling. You have to be very careful. You have to do exactly like I do. Otherwise, if you don't have your ingredient in advance, it could be difficult. Number 1, you have to have a bain-marie. You put water in the pot. Remember, you got your fondant. We're going to melt the fondant. You need your chocolate ready and you need your piping bag ready. And of course, you get the crème pâtissière. You need a scissors to cut the end, a spatula, and a little knife to do the decoration. Okay? And also, you got your syrup to dilute your fondant. Okay, let's go. Firstly, we're going to melt the chocolate and the fondant to make them spreadable. Okay, it's very important that you check the temperature of the water as well. Okay, you don't want the chocolate to be more than 35 degrees. Okay, you see that is melting very slowly. Okay, when the water is warm, you switch off and then you let it melt slowly. The same with the fondant here. As you can see, you don't want the water touch too much the bowl, otherwise it'll be too hot. You don't want the fondant to be more than 35 degrees or 40 degrees. Can you see now? Same. You switch off the gas and you let melt very slowly. Right, now we are ready to spray the crème pâtissière on the first pastry. Now remove the excess of cream with a small knife. Add the second layer of pastry, press lightly and cover it with another layer of crème pâtissière. Now you have to go very fast. I'll put the chocolate in your little paper bag. Now mix the fondant. You can add a little bit of syrup and mix well until you obtain a soft mixture ready to cover the top pastry. So now we have to go very fast. Got your spatula ready. Now you have to be quick to carefully smooth the glazing in a few spatula strokes. The fondant hardens very quickly. Then immediately after, with your chocolate piping bag, draw thin lines back and forth. Pass the tip of your knife in perpendicular lines, in one way, then in the other way. Clean often the blade of your knife to avoid to collect pastry crumbles. When the glazing is dry, you can trim the excess of fondant. Now cover delicately the top of your pastry with your nicely decorated top. Now you know how to make those mille feuilles, but to slice them, let them in a freezer for 1 hour. It'll be more easy. So now you have to cut that in 5. As you can see, 1 serve. Now the second one, you have to clean. Okay. Okay, number 2. I've marked this one. Good. Goody. Great. And now, last one. That's it. You got your mille feuille cut in 5 but nearly similar. Now go, my friend, you know how to make those mille feuilles. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. Also, subscribe to our humble channel to encourage us to produce more French specialty like this one. Thank you for watching and see you very soon. Bon appétit!